Imagine you have the most advanced, high-tech oven in the world. You want to cook a five-star meal, so you open the door and toss in a messy pile of unpeeled carrots, whole onions, and a raw, unprepared chicken. Immediately, the oven starts smoking. Artificial intelligence works the same way. Machine learning models are incredibly powerful, but they only understand one thing: neatly structured numbers. If you feed them messy, real-world human data, like text, blurry photos, or incomplete spreadsheets, the system simply breaks down. This is where feature engineering comes in. Think of it as the essential prep work in a data kitchen. It's the process of chopping, paling, and measuring your data so the algorithm can actually digest it. There is a strict rule in machine learning. If the input is garbage, the output is garbage. It doesn't matter how expensive or complex your model is, it cannot cook a good prediction out of spoiled ingredients. Because of this, data scientists spend the vast majority of their time just prepping these features. While the oven gets the credit, this invisible step is what ultimately decides how well the AI performs. Let's look at the first hurdle: missing values. This spreadsheet tracks house prices, but in the roof age column, several cells are entirely blank. In a kitchen, this is like trying to bake a cake and realizing you have no sugar at all. Instead of throwing away the whole row, we can use imputation. We substitute the missing data by filling those blanks with the mathematical average of the rest of the column. Now, the algorithm has a complete set of ingredients to work with. Our second hurdle is dealing with words. A computer model cannot read text-based categories. If a data column lists things like red, green, or burger, the algorithm has no way to process those letters mathematically. To fix this, we use a translation tool called one-hot encoding. The single column labeled color expands horizontally into new columns for every option. We then use a 1 for yes and a 0 for no. Now the computer has numbers it can actually process. By filling in the gaps and translating words into simple yes or no numbers, we have successfully forged a structured menu of figures that the computer can finally understand. We also have to worry about proportions. Imagine comparing a salary of $100,000 to just 2 years of job experience. Because 100,000 is such a massive number compared to 2, the model gets confused. It assumes the salary is much more important simply because the number is bigger. We use feature scaling to fix this. We shrink those wildly different numbers down to a level playing field. Now, both variables are measured on a scale between 0 and 1, so the model treats them with appropriate weight. Sometimes you have to mix ingredients to get a better result. This process is known as feature creation. By taking a birth year and subtracting it from the current year, you create a brand new variable, age. This simple bit of math provides a pattern that's much easier for the model to follow. But be careful, if you create too many variables, you hit what's called the curse of dimensionality. Adding hundreds of extra columns can overwhelm the model, much like ruining a soup by adding too many different spices. To keep the model focused, we use dimensionality reduction. This acts like a data compressor, trimming away the unnecessary details while keeping the most important statistical patterns intact. Precise scaling and careful selection are what keep the algorithm from choking on too much information, ensuring it focuses only on the patterns that truly matter. Even with perfect scaling, you have to watch out for data leakage. This happens when an engineer accidentally includes the final answer inside the training data. It's like giving the model the answers to the test beforehand. It looks perfect in the kitchen, but it fails the moment it's served to a real customer. There is also the danger of human bias. Raw data is often a reflection of the past, including old prejudices. If the historical data we use to train a model is full of discrimination, the AI will simply learn to repeat those same unfair patterns. This is where feature engineering becomes a defensive tool. It gives us a chance to look at the ingredients and realize that a variable like a zip code might actually be a proxy for race. By choosing to remove or rebalance these variables, we can stop bias before it reaches the final model. As you can see in this diagram, the engineering phase sits right between the raw data we collect and the final evaluation. This is where we perform reweighing, adjusting the importance of certain ingredients to make sure the model treats different groups of people fairly. Building ethical AI isn't just about the math. It's about making conscious decisions during this prep phase to ensure the final system aligns with our values of fairness and equity. Now, a subset of AI called deep learning is starting to automate some of this. Neural networks can act like advanced food processors, extracting their own features from complex things like images or human speech. But even with these advances, solving real-world business problems still requires human intuition. An algorithm can't understand your specific goals. It takes a person to decide which features are actually relevant to the task at hand. If you want to start practicing machine learning, the best place to begin is with the data itself. Mastering the prep work is the essential first step before you ever move on to these complex algorithms. The algorithms might get all the attention, but the real work of machine learning happens here at the prep station. After all, the quality of the meal is always decided in the kitchen,